What's good, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It. It feels like it's been a minute, because it has. So, we back at it to do these high-stakes fighter breakdowns. If you're not hip to the high-stakes fighter breakdowns, that is when I come through and I individually break down each fighter in the main event of the weekend's pay-per-view. And this weekend, we have Dricus Du Plessis. He's got to defend his middleweight championship against Khamzat Chimaev. This has been one of the most anticipated middleweight matchups in a very long time. You got two guys who are very well known to be explosive fighters. You have one to be well known to be very unorthodox and hard to figure out at times. And then you have the other one who he comes in, puts you on your back, and that's it. He takes you down the second the fight starts, and that's it. It's a wrap as soon as he gets you down. It's a very interesting matchup, and it's one that fans have been wanting and have anticipated. So it's definitely something that I said there's no way I can't not come through. I didn't come through for the last pay-per-view with the individual fighter breakdowns. I felt terrible that I didn't do that. Like, how am I? That's supposed to be the thing. That's supposed to be my thing, is the high-stakes fighter breakdown. I missed it for Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier. We are not missing it for this pay-per-view. So, today, this is the high-stakes fighter breakdown of the current middleweight champion of the world, Dricus Du Plessis. Let's get into it. Let's smoke. Well, while I'm rolling this up, I am going to talk about one thing that is some of the best news that this old brand right here can bring us. UFC now signed with Paramount Plus. Oh, man, when I talk about blessings, that's what I'm talking about. That is a blessing to every UFC fan's pockets out there, and we all know it too. $85 a month we have now saved. That is $1,080 or $1,090 a year. Okay, I know a lot of people look at $1,000 in a year like that's not a lot. And you're right, man. And, you know, some people might not be a lot. But at the same time, you know how much you can do with $1,000, regardless. You know what I'm saying? You know what you could do with $1,000 in a whole year. That's $1,000 extra, man. That's good money. It's decent money to have. See, a lot of people don't look at it that way. They're like, oh, well, it's not really $1,000, man. You're paying $85. That's it. And you don't have to buy every pay-per-view. And it's like, well, in my shoes, I do. So I have to break down these fights. I have to break down these pay-per-views. People want to know what I'm going to say about them, so I have to come through. I have to watch them. I have to see them. So saving me $85 a month is a blessing, right? $85 a month. And sometimes, we've discussed this before, not every pay-per-view is worth the $85 that they're trying to charge. $85. I can do a lot of shit with $85 every month instead of giving these fools my money for fights that sometimes don't pan out to what you wanted, to what you expected, you know. So it's one of those things where I am just extremely happy that starting 2026, I don't have to pay $85 a month. Why don't you just stream it? Because y'all all act like streams really be working perfectly for every human being on planet Earth, and it just don't work like that, bro. You pay for the fights and they don't even work that well. The fuck you think you're going to watch a free one for? It's not going to work that well. Some people are blessed, right? I know some people, I ain't going to throw nobody under the bus, but I know some people that they be blessed on the sides. All right, let's get into this and waste no time. So, the individual fighter breakdown, a high-stakes fighter breakdown of the current middleweight champion, Dricus Du Plessis. Let's talk about it. Dricus Du Plessis is a fantastic fighter who does not look like a fantastic fighter. Dricus is somebody who doesn't look like he should be what he is, right? He has such an unorthodox style. He brings a very weird just flow to the fight in general. So it's very difficult to figure out for any type of style fighter that's in there, because he doesn't have a style that you normally train for, because the style is so awkward, unorthodox, and weird. He's got weird timing. He throws weird punches, right? But the thing about Dricus is he does have the IQ to be able to make the adjustments and win a fight. And you can't tell that he's able to make the adjustments because you don't really notice the adjustments because nothing looks clean, okay? So Dricus Du Plessis came in the UFC back in 2020, so he's been in the UFC for 5 years. He is 9-0 in the UFC, has not been beaten in the UFC. He's got 2 losses in his career. I think he's 23-2. So 2 losses in his entire pro career. So that's a pretty good weight to hold. You're talking about 9-0 in the UFC, and he's fought some absolute killers in the UFC. If you really think about the people he has gone through on his resume, I mean, having wins over Darren Till, who surprisingly gave him a very tough fight for a little minute there. But wins over Darren Till, wins over Robert Whitaker, wins over Israel Adesanya, 2 times over Sean Strickland. I mean, that holds weight. It does. No matter who you are, that holds weight. And the thing about Dricus is Dricus isn't running from anybody. He's not trying to avoid the next guy up. He's not trying to avoid any type of fight. He wants to go out there and prove that he's the best in the world. And how else do you do that? You go out there against the guy that everybody believes should be the current champion, should end up being a champion for the future and everything like that, against Khamzat. You go out there and you beat Khamzat. That's just stamping more on top of your legacy of saying how good you truly are, to show the world that even though you have the most unorthodox style, no footwork, weird hands, you can get the dub. And he does. He does because he knows how to do it. Now, going into this fight, going to be very interesting on the style that he brings, because you know Khamzat is going to shoot. No matter what the case may be, Khamzat is going to attempt to take this fight to the ground. And Dricus is not the type of guy who's going to try to defend the takedown by sprawling and get back up. Dricus is the type of guy who's probably going to accept the takedown and try to make it weird. Very similar to Tony Ferguson, right? You guys remember watching Tony was very unorthodox, but was allowing you to use your offense to where he could use his defense against your offense, if that makes sense. Like, obviously you're using defense to protect yourself against the offense, but he would use his defense as the offense against somebody else being offensive, if that makes sense. Like, Tony was very weird, very tricky, and he would make you make a mistake even though it seemed like you were having success. So that's very similar to what Dricus can do. Dricus can make you make a mistake while making you think that you have some success because the style. You're keeping everything technical, clean, perfect, and Dricus is over here fucking doing backflips and I know he's not doing backflips, but he be doing some of the most awkward shit when he comes in and he does that explosive movement, right? We'll talk about that in a minute. He comes in with a very explosive style, almost similar to how the Dagestans set up for the wrestling when they're trying to force somebody back on the back foot and they get him to the black line and then they shoot. Dricus has that entry, but he's not entering to shoot. He's entering to scrap, but at the same time, he might shoot. You can't tell his timing. His timing throws everybody off. So that leads me into really breaking down and analyzing Dricus Du Plessis. What's something that Dricus does so well that has confused fighters and thrown them off? And I'll tell you what it is. It is the fact that you can't tell where the fight is going to go. Right? You go in there against a guy that you've been training for, like say you've been training for Israel Adesanya. 99.9% chance that fight is going to stay on the feet. You have no worry that this man is going to shoot and try to take you down. Right? Maybe against Alex was a peculiar situation because, you know, he's fighting another striker. He kind of had to shoot to try to prove a point that the MMA is different than kickboxing. But if you're fighting somebody that's known to be a big striker, you're going to be cautious on the feet. If you're going up against somebody that you know is a top tier wrestler, you're going to be cautious on the ground. Where do you be cautious against Dricus Du Plessis? And that's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. How do you defend against the shit that Dricus is going to bring to you if you don't know what he's going to bring to you? We've talked about the unorthodox stuff, but the fact of the matter is, with that, he is extremely unpredictable. Right? We talk about him coming in with the explosive entries. We talk about him coming in with big shots. He does hit pretty hard too, right? Like, he's not a soft hitter. He does hit pretty hard. Watch the way he fought Rob. He looked huge against Rob, though. If we're being honest, he looked like a light heavyweight against a middleweight when it comes to fighting Rob. And I think it's going to be vice versa this weekend. I think you're going to see somebody, Khamzat, looking huge versus Dricus. But the thing about Dricus, and I'm going to bring up the Izzy fight for this one. When Dricus, when I say that you don't know what he's going to do, right? He gets Izzy to be on the back foot, forces Izzy to circle, right? And as he's chasing him with shots, he trips him, gets a takedown, right? And in a position where you might think, okay, he's going to take him down, probably just go for some ground and pound and stuff like that, Izzy was probably going to try to be cautious, take a minute. He did not expect to end up in a submission in that, right? But the way that Dricus set that up, there was no predictability that fight was going to be on the ground and stay on the ground for him to get the finish on the ground. Izzy's only mentality in that was to get back up, right? He just wanted to get back up so he can get back to his home where he's best at. Dricus doesn't have a home of where he's best at. Dricus's home is being unorthodox. That's his comfort zone. That is where he is best at. If you saw Dricus Du Plessis come in there throwing perfect jabs, 1-2s, beautiful leg kicks, amazing footwork, he'd get knocked out in one because it's not his style. It's not how he's meant to fight. People say, oh, but you need footwork. In this game, maybe you don't. Or maybe footwork is a different style of footwork when you have a guy like Dricus. You look at boxing. I think I mention this every time I talk about Dricus. You look at boxing. If a man is unorthodox, sloppy, and everything like that, looks like he can't even throw a proper punch, the man's probably going to get slept, right? We watched Sean Strickland against Dricus, and Sean's hitting him with punches like this. Who the fuck hits with their hand like this? Fucking Dricus, Sean, and Renier de Ritter are the people that strike like that. If you went to strike like in boxing, you're fucking getting slept, bub. Simple, you getting slept, right? You getting knocked out. So for me to sit there and watch somebody like Dricus do that, you're like, how does he not get knocked out? But it works. It just works. But I'm so tired. What the fuck is this, man? What the fuck is this? Who the fuck is throwing punches like that? But that's really why the game is so interesting. That's why this game is so interesting. You watch Ilia Topuria throw these beautiful, clean-cut combinations, and it works perfect for him. He knocks guys out. That's his style. That's his home. That's his thing. You'd watch Khabib go in there, take somebody down, put him up against the fence, ground and pound, go for a finish. That was his thing. Dricus Du Plessis, he just looking to win. That's the craziest part. He just looking to win. And Dricus is somebody who will be the type of person to stand in there and say, okay, even if I lose this fight, you're going to have to kill me to get me out of there. And I love that mentality. I really do. I love that mentality because he's not thinking just of himself of like, oh, you're going to have to kill me to get out of, get me out of here. He's thinking in his head, I got to kill you to get you out of there. So all in all, it ends up, that is the mentality that you need to be able to be a champion. Dricus Du Plessis is a very good champion. If I'm being honest with you, I didn't expect him to be a good champion. I didn't even, I wasn't even rooting for him to be champion, but he is a good champion. He really is. One, the style is just so crazy. You gotta sit there and watch and just see because it works. It works. So you just gotta sit there and see. That's one. So you tune in for that. Duke at shit talk. And I'm not talking about normal trash talk. I'm talking about he gonna hit you where it hurts and he's gonna make you feel some type of way. Made Israel Adesanya and Sean Strickland both cry from press conferences. Just remember that. Did he go low? Part of the game, though. Conor McGregor went low too, but he got his ass beat for it. So sometimes that's what happens. You might get your ass beat for it. Might not backfire. It just depends. But he's fun, and he not only that, he's been defending his belt, right? He doesn't turn down fights. He defends his belt. He's very active. That's what we want as fans. That's what we want to see. Now, through that, analyzing, breaking down, talking about him, let's get into the keys to victory real quick for Dricus Du Plessis. Dricus Du Plessis, the storm is coming. So the first key to victory on this list is just defend that first round. Get through that first round. Get through that second round. Defend the storm. Protect against it. And you'll be good. He's got to get past the early onslaught of Khamzat. I'm not saying that Dricus don't have the skill set to go in there early and do something like get a finish, get a win. Really, really stamp something in there, right? Like he can do it in the first round as well, but we know that's where Khamzat is most dangerous. So get past the first few rounds. Obviously, fight your fight, but you got to withstand. You got to be able to handle what's going to come. The man is going to shoot. He's going to try to put you on your back. He's not just going to try. He's going to successfully get you down. It's just how he is. He's that good when it comes to the takedown. But Dricus just has to be smart, not try to be overzealous in terms of defense, right? Just be a little smart on the defense. We have seen Khamzat gas out before. Not saying he's going to, but we have seen him kind of fade a little bit. We'll see what happens. He faded a little bit in the Usman fight, but really, guys, think about what that fight was supposed to be. It was supposed to be him versus Paulo Costa. Would have never been a 3-round fight. He would have took Paulo Costa down, got the finish, and that would have been it. Simple as that. Unless that was the fight he was supposed to fight Rob, which, again, whole other style in the same thing. You know what I mean? So, all right. So, next key to victory. Obviously, once you weather the storm a little bit, you get past it, you get into those later rounds, this is where you have to be as unpredictable as possible. Somebody like Khamzat, with the style of fighting he has, he does not want somebody in there to be unpredictable, right? Gilbert Burns wasn't perfectly predictable. He has an unorthodox style to him ever so slightly. He's easier to train for, but he does have an unorthodox style ever so slightly. So you did see the success that Gilbert had using that against Khamzat. Dricus can have that same success. He has to be unpredictable, though. He really has to continue the unpredictableness. And honestly, when I put that in, you know, unpredictable, when you put anything in between there, you got to talk about being unpredictable with the striking. And, bro, don't be afraid to shoot. We haven't seen Khamzat put on his back. We very rarely see these Dagestans get taken down and put on their back. Where's the jiu-jitsu? We know the wrestling is dominant. We know that the sambo is dominant. But where's the jiu-jitsu? Right? We got to see that. I think Khamzat would be fine off his back, right? But if Dricus can go in there and shoot and put Khamzat on his back, he's going to change everything, man. The bet lines are going to change. The live bet lines, the decision line, the submission line, everything is going to change because now you're sitting there like, oh, shit, he took Khamzat down, right? Like, he got him down quick, too. Like, he didn't have this struggle, whatever the case may be. That's interesting. So be unpredictable and honestly mix every part of the game in. And Dricus does that anyway. So I don't even have to really say it. We already know it's a key to victory, but be unpredictable and mix the game up. Last one is a famous one that Max Holloway has made known. Testing the ego. Test that ego of Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat is an absolute animal in there. Right? He's going in there to tear your head off. He wants to get the quick finish. He doesn't want to be in there for a long scrap. He wants to go in there and make a huge statement right off rip. And he's not trying to do it in a fancy way. He's doing it in a way he knows best. He's going to shoot and try to take you down. What he did to Rob Whittaker, none of us would have predicted. None of us would have predicted that. Yeah, we predicted that he was going to get him down. We predicted he might have did some damage. To do what he did as fast as he did, none of us predicted that at all. So for this fight specifically, overall, you got to test the ego, okay? Test his ego. Go in there, right? Make him seem like what he's doing is not going to bother you. Oh, he takes you down? Say some shit in his ear. Let him know. I don't give a fuck, right? Talk some shit. I don't know. I'm not a fighter, so I'm never in there to talk shit. I could talk shit from the outside, but the shit that I would talk is going to be a lot different shit that you're going to talk on the inside. So Dricus got to talk some shit. He's got to put some type of thing in Khamzat's brain that he is not scared of the overall aura that has been built by so many fans. I think Khamzat has built his own aura itself, but fans have put a whole other ring of aura around him that is a untouchable, unbeatable, just absolute animal, which he is an absolute animal, but nobody is untouchable, unbeatable. The man can be beaten. Either one of these men could lose on Saturday night, and they could lose that in the UFC. Somebody's going to leave still undefeated in the UFC. Someone's going to leave not. Someone's going to leave with the belt, and someone's not. Simple as that. Who's it going to be is the hardest prediction, right? So let's lead into the negatives for Dricus then and talk about all the negatives that Dricus has going into this fight. Now, you really look at it and you're like, it's hard to pick out a negative for this man because he is so weird. Right? How do you pick out a negative when the weirdness works for him? Right? Because all the weirdness is what the negatives would be. Right? careful on the entries. Don't keep your hands down. I mean, if Sean was a more technical fighter, a little bit more technical of a striker, a little bit more sound in that second fight, he had openings, right? He had openings after the jab and stuff like that. So Dricus does leave openings. So if Khamzat could expose those holes, the openings and everything like that, it's different. But normally I would have key to victory, and then negative, negative, negative. In this one, the negative is so hard to give you an actual breakdown on. It's so hard because any negative you would normally point out for a guy like Dricus, it works in his favor. So I don't really even know how to come through with a negative for the man. He's got good cardio. The man can go for days. He's like a middleweight Marab. He can continuously keep going. And then not only that, he's strong. He's durable. The striking is where I would put the negatives, right? Because it's such an unorthodox striking. And like I said, he leaves openings. That's probably the biggest thing, is he does leave so many openings. Someone just has to be ever so slightly smarter and ready for the awkwardness of him that they end up being able to see the hole. Sometimes it might take somebody to be so awkward as well to beat somebody like that, but I think there's two styles of fighter in the middleweight division that could beat Dricus Du Plessis. One is Khamzat Chimaev, the other one is René de Ridder, because of the styles. And styles make fights, styles make matchups, and that's exactly what this weekend's matchup is a stylistically fun matchup to see, because you don't have any prediction on what truly can happen when you're watching Dricus Du Plessis. So that's it for the high stakes fighter breakdown for my boy Dricus. Never was a fan of Dricus, to be honest with you. I was not a fan of DDP. I was annoyed of his come up, everything like that. But there is something about him that gives me the vibe that you want him to be champion. Even though I want to see Khamzat win, I want to see Khamzat with the belt and stuff like that. This dude is a good champion who is going to be a reliable champion. He's going to be an active champion. Right? And he's going to bring excitement to every fight, because you know he's not putting on no boring fight. He's not looking to take you down and just hold you down and lay on top of you. Both of these guys are looking to take each other's head off. So you know you're going to get an exciting fight on Saturday. But that's it for the high stakes fighter breakdown for Dricus Du Plessis. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification button. You know, if you've watched these before, you don't have to do all that. Just drop a comment or something. Let me know who you think's going to win this weekend. Let me hear your positives and negatives for each fighter. I just want to know what the people are thinking leading into this fight. So I appreciate you guys for watching. I'm going to get ready to go record the Khamzat one now. Like I said, I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next episode. Your boy Bando is out. Peace.